I am not saying every single truck driver out there is a bad guy and every single truck driver out there is violating these rules. There are good truck drivers, but there are also bad ones.
Hello, everyone. I'm Leslie Rohde. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Lawyers. Well, today we are talking about truck drivers, some of the rules and regulations they have to follow out there on our highways, and what to do if you get into an accident with one of them. Well, we are thankful today to have Corpus Christi attorney Greg Herrman with us to answer some of our questions. Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Let's first just start with what are some of these rules and regulations that truck drivers have to follow?
Well, a couple of the basic ones are, for instance, blood alcohol. It cannot be over 0.4, which is half of what, it is for everybody else. Most states are 0.08 now. So, just if you just have a really bad hangover because you drank a lot the night before, you could probably disqualify yourself from even driving. But besides that, some of the bigger ones are how long you can drive at a time without stopping. And then how many hours you have to sleep and how many hours you have to rest and not be on the road. Of course, others apply to weights, how much weight you can carry, how they're loaded on the vehicle so they don't shift. Log books, you got to keep log books of all this. And a lot have to do with the conditions of the road, where a lot of us may try to keep driving in certain conditions. Truck drivers are required to pull over and not drive at all, or at least slow way down and exercise extreme caution. And we see that a lot with fog. We see a lot of truck drivers just driving normal in fog, but it applies to rain, to sleet, to snow, to smoke, to dust, to just about anything. If the driver's condition is impaired at all, he's either required to pull over or he's required to slow way down and exercise extreme caution. Things like that. There's a bunch of rules and regulations that apply to truck drivers that don't apply to normal drivers.
I would imagine so, but I also know you've had a lot of experience with these cases. And from some of your experience, do you think that the trucking companies are really pushing truck drivers to go past some of these limits in terms of the regulations at times?
Oh, I know they do. I know they do. A lot of it has to do with the way they're paid. Truck drivers really only get paid when they deliver the load. And so the faster they can get it there, the faster they can get their money. And the more trips they can make. And sometimes companies have unrealistic expectations of drivers, and they've got to be driving this amount of time for this long, and they don't take into account, and they know they don't take into account certain things like traffic delays or traffic accidents on the roads ahead of them. But they don't change their times or their anything else to accommodate them. They just expect the driver somehow to magically still be where he's supposed to be at the same time and same place, because the trucking company, that's how they get paid too. And until they deliver that load, they aren't getting paid either. And so both the driver and the trucking company want that load there as fast as they can get it there.
Going back now, why are these rules and regulations in place in the first place? I would imagine just to not only keep the truck drivers safe, but us as well.
Yeah, it's just pure safety. It's just pure safety. There's been so many accidents involving, so many trucks and truck drivers that have killed people and injured people and, seriously injured people. Usually when a truck hits you, it's not a minor injury. Some of these trucks weigh 80,000 pounds when they're loaded. And imagine what an 80,000-pound truck will do hitting you at 75 miles an hour. So yeah, it's just they're all for safety reasons.
So what happens when these rules aren't followed?
Generally bad stuff. Accidents occur. People get injured, seriously injured. People get killed. The driver can lose his license. The company can be cited. Their insurance rates can go up. But as far as the average consumer's concerned, what usually happens when they don't follow the rules is people get hurt. Weight shift on the truck, and they go around the curve, and the truck falls over or rolls over. They can't stop in time because they're speeding. They are driving hungover or impaired. They don't slow down in the fog. They don't get adequate sleep. So they're not as alert, and so when a situation presents itself up front, they don't have the same reaction speed, so they can't react in time to avoid accidents. Just bad stuff happens. That's why the regulations are there.
It all comes down to that. Well, I know you've dealt with these cases, but how do you assign blame here? I mean, who's responsible? You've got a truck driver making decisions. You've got the company, his company actually pushing him or her to make some decisions. So who's responsible in some of these accidents?
Yeah, well, that's up to a jury to decide, but it's not always the truck driver's fault. I mean, usually it's the truck driver doing something like texting and driving, or talking on the phone and driving, or not getting enough sleep, or being hungover, or whatever. But lots of time it's the company not training them properly, not enforcing their own rules and regulations, not disciplining, or otherwise punishing drivers, because word gets around, hey, I violated this rule and the company didn't do anything to me. Not double and triple checking their logbooks to make sure they're not falsifying information. It just depends on the evidence, and you're not going to know that till you file a lawsuit and start discovery and start getting the employee handbooks and, what safety meetings they attended and which ones they missed, and look at the personnel file and see when they've been disciplined and how the company enforces things. So it's just, each case is different.
A lot to sort out, for sure. I really want to get to this because we've seen a lot of praise for truckers. Let's be honest, they have been moving our goods around this country kind of on the front lines during this pandemic that we've been in, and they've been responsible sometimes for getting everything where it needs to be. Do you think that the pressure to get the goods, right, especially in these times, to their next drop-off locations has made this issue with following these rules even worse?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. And while we're talking about it, let me just tell you, we're going to get some negative comments on these videos. Yeah. From truck drivers, and they go and leave comments on my on my Facebook page and on our blogs and stuff. I am not saying every single truck driver out there is a bad guy and every single truck driver out there is violating these rules. There are good truck drivers, but there are also bad ones. And yes, in these times where people are hoarding toilet paper and buying everything in the store and eating more at home, and they need stuff from the grocery store instead of going to a cafe or a restaurant. There's more goods that need to be delivered to stores, and people are showing up. And right now there's a meat shortage, so people are trying to hoard meat unless the stores stop them. And so there's a whole lot more pressure to get stuff, especially essential goods and stuff, to people. So, there's a lot more pressure on them by the companies, by themselves. And I think even the good truck drivers don't want to cut corners, and hopefully they don't. But, they know, hey, there's people that need these products. And so, sometimes just they think, a little bit of cutting a corner here or there won't hurt anything.
Let's ask you, too, just anything else that you want to leave our viewers with today as we look at and think about the big picture of some of these rules and regulations and safety for all of us out on the roads.
Yeah, the main thing I would say is keep your distance from these truck drivers and watch them. I mean, if you see a truck driver swerving on the road or not staying in his lane or going too fast, or if there's anything that looks like it's not right with that truck, just stay behind it or try to get around it. If he's going slow, which you don't see a whole lot of that happening, but if one of them's going slow, try to get around them. If you see anything funny with the trailer, it doesn't look like it's marked right, or the tires or wheels look funny or look worn, There's just lots of things that you just need to keep your distance, and it's best to try to just stay behind them rather than try to get ahead of them. Just keep your distance and keep your eye on them. The best thing I can tell you to do.
All right, Greg, thank you as always for your insight on this topic.
Sure, Leslie. Thank you.
And thanks to all of you for watching this episode of Ask the Lawyers. We'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can go ahead and catch all the other episodes as well. I'm Leslie Rohde with AskTheLawyers.com, where you can choose a lawyer that lawyers choose.